The track we're about to master is a house track. I've not listened to it, apparently it is. So what I've done, I've put it in the session already. I've already put it into the A/B so that we can listen to the before and after. I've synced it up because it's at the front. What we want to do next is what we do with every track is get the levels right first of all, then move on to the EQ and listening to it and seeing what it requires. So let's get the levels right first. Again, like every session that I'm doing with you here, you'll see that these need to be at -20 and these need to be at -8. That way we know we're going in with plenty of space to then add and gain stage back to where we want to be. But we start where we want to be basically, and then we lower the limiter down as we need to for whatever the track needs. So usually the end of the track's pretty hectic, and that's usually where the loudest point is. So let's start there. Let's get the levels right. So first of all, let's get do the input. Okay, so what we've got there, I've pushed the input on the channel up so that it went to -20, and then I pushed the level of the limiter channel up until it went to -8. So now what we want to do is have a listen to the track and work out basically what we need to, we need to get it into the ballpark, which is 80% of the way there. And so what we're doing now is listening to what it requires to get it to sound how it should sound. So it's a house track, probably loads of bass it needs. Certainly it wants to be tight, it wants to be fast, it wants to be open, like everything. So we're looking for what it requires to be able to get us to that point. And then once we're at that point where we've got all of the, cleaned it up and got it so that it's working better, then we'll be able to do some fine tuning. So let's have a listen to it, see what we think it needs. Okay, so from my first analysis there is I think the snare needs to be a bit snappier, and everything in the low end just sounds a little bit moody and a bit kind of flat and like just not very sharp. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of space there. So I think we need to get into that, and we need to make it just open up a little bit all over the track really, so that it just sounds a lot less muffled. I think once we've sorted that low end muffle out, we can just then start adding a little bit to the snare just to get that, punchier. So let me see what we need to, let's have a listen. I think I'll grab the, maybe I'll grab the backs to start with, because that will give us some low cuts and we can open up. In fact, no, let's just, yeah. Okay, Leo, let's do that. Sorry, decisions.
said she loved Tupac, but hates some LL. See her at the ball with necklace, no ring. She could take a piss, turn him into a kid. Always looking at her in the line like pearly white. Said a man get paper, but he don't live with all these emotions flowing inside the club. Do you really want love or do you want love?
So you know what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Just trying to tighten up the bass now with a bit of compression. So what we've done is we've just chopped a little bit off the end with only a 12, but I might change that to 18 actually thinking about it. So 18 hertz like cut at the bottom. And then I've opened up the tops. This is in MS mode, this EQ. So by adding this, it's just opened up the tops bit. I just did that because I thought I'd probably want to do it later, so I might as well do it while I'm in there. And so this just trying to compress that bass note a little bit so that I can try and get it a bit more punchy. I think I'm going to have to do a cut in it above. Let's see. Okay, before I go any further, let me explain what I've just been doing. So as I started EQing it, and this is why it's so essential to have the AB, because I could hear, I was listening to it before and after, it sounded better with the compressor in the low end and it sounded like it was getting tighter. But obviously compression compresses the sound and brings it down. So when I was AB in between the two, I could hear actually that the kick, the sort of transient smack of the kick was missing. As soon as I then turned that off, I could hear it came back again. So this is a really good point to show you that what you do in the first place doesn't mean it's right forever. You can try things and then turn them off later. Because it just didn't sound very good, basically. And as soon as I made a couple of adjustments in the low end, so on the backs, I've basically taken this frequency on the sides a little bit higher than what's in the middle, and I've just pulled it in a little bit. So I haven't completely monoed the bass, but I've just brought the sides in, and that crossover point is about 118, let me see, 116, yeah. And then this is up, this cuts a little bit higher on the outside too. So basically what I'm doing is just bringing the sides in a little bit so that I'm not completely monoing it, but it's just there, which makes it nice and tough still. And then on the tops at 18K, I said earlier, I've just brought that out a little bit. This at 1.8. Now this is a shelf going all the way up, and because it's a Baxendale shelf, it doesn't go up and across, it just keeps going and going and going. So it's really smooth, but what it does, it just opens up the whole of the mid. So basically, if you think about it, when you're listening to your speakers, the way I listen is I've got obviously stuff happening there and stuff happening here, and it's that stuff that gets lifted up all the way. So it's really slight, it's half a dB, but it's just a nice lift in the middle, which is cool, because that just keeps all of that nice and tight. Because I've got that, I've opened it up at the top there, and I've opened it up in the middle there. So it's kind of like the mids have stayed the same, the tops have opened up, and then the middles come up. So it's just playing with the stereo field. Really slight touches, but they make a huge difference to the sound. And then I've gone on to the Pro Q3. I've done my favorite little trick here, which is the cut out at 160 with adding a little bit after. So you may have seen that I grabbed those, and you can grab a couple at the same time, so you can then just move it around and have a listen and see whereabouts it needs to sit. So I thought that was about right there. I much prefer working with dynamic EQ than normal, just because it adds a bit of roll to the track and a bit of movement rather than just keeping things straight. It's not something I've always done, but it's something that I do recently more and more of. So I've just added around 2.6K. Now, you would have heard I was listening to that. So I was listening to where the snare was hitting, the tip of the snare. So then I was putting it there, basically. It's still quite wide, but I was putting it there so that I could really hear that snare popping through. And then I've done that other thing that I do quite a bit, which, again, just lifting the outside, but just a bit of movement. I am lifting it on the backs, but that's kind of, it's not dynamic, so it's kind of just lifting it up, and then this is kind of just moving it a bit once it's lifted, so it's just opening it up nicely. And then I've put another cut on at 20 hertz, just a nice filter, it sounds good. And so it worked because I've got this little bump here of like half a dB. That little bump just adds a little bit of smack, a bit of weight. We're quite low there in frequency. We're at 30 hertz, so that's going to be where the kick, bottom of the kick is. So it sort of gives it a little boost. And this, you know, this curve is going all the way down to like 15 hertz. So we're pretty low, but you know, it means the speakers are going to work better. So that's how we are at the moment. The levels look good. I'm always checking this level here to see if that's hitting -8. It's probably a little bit under at the moment, but I'm just still getting it in the ballpark to get it where I like it, so I can hear everything starting to open up. I'm not trying to drift too far away from the original mix because they like the sound of that mix. They've sent you the track. I'm talking as someone who hasn't made the track. They've sent me the track. They like the mix on their speakers. They just want it to sound clearer and better and to the right level and done in a correct way. That's why they're using me. So I don't want to take the mix somewhere completely different. You know, I'm not part of that kind of creative process. I'm there to clean up, tidy, get things tighter and get things louder for them, because they aren't able to do that because they've been too deep in the mix and too deep in the production. So I'm another set of ears who's come in and gone, okay, this is what I think I'm due to your mix. I'm not saying, okay, I'm changing this. This is suddenly going to be different. I'm not wanting to do that. I just want to get it sounding clearer, cleaner, bit more open, tighter. You know, they want tight bass, of course they do. They want it open at the tops, but if they open it at the tops, they might make it too bright. I'm in a great studio where I can hear what's going on. So that's why they're, you know, trusting me, and that's why you need to know your room. Don't move your stuff around all the time. Get used to the sound of your room. If you're mixing, mastering in the same space, you just got to get used to that space and know, okay, I'm mastering now, so this is how it sounds in here. So anyway, I'll stop talking because I'm boring myself. Let's just see what the level's doing. We'll maybe add a clipper before it just to see if we can get some more level out of it, because they want it loud. It's dance music. Okay, I'm loving this. I don't think it needs anything else, to be honest. I just needed to bring that bass in a little bit more because it just sounded a little bit woolly. Doing those cuts on the bottom end have really sorted out the waffle at the bottom, which was cool. I think it just sounds really good. I mean, that's really cleaned up the mix by just sorting that low end out. And that's really just the back's doing its thing in the sides, bringing that in and just chopping a little bit off the low end. And the same goes when I've done it here too. This has cleaned up the sort of above it so we can hear that bass bouncing around. And then we've just added little bits of top, not much. Look, I mean, you know, they're maximum going sort of 1 dB or something. So really simple, really good. That's all it needs. I don't want to mess around with it too much. It still sounds good, still sounds raw enough for them. I think I'll just put it down now and record it. and then go from there. See if there's anything I hear as I'm playing it down. I know it's loud enough. I looked at the Uleen, that was coming in at about -8. I mean, they might want it louder. You can get it louder. As you could hear, I went with the flatline clipper that's clipping it before the thing. If you wanted to get this super loud, basically, you could get another couple of dBs out of this by clipping it a little bit more on the input to the limiter. But I don't really want to push it. I think -8 is always loud enough. But if they do come back and say they want it louder, cool, I'll get it at -6 if they want it. But, you know, there's loud and there's loud. So, you know, some people are doing sort of -6, -5. The Weekend, they're kind of -6. So if you want to go to that levels, you can. The way to do that is with the flat line there and to gain stage a little bit more through, which I could do if I wanted to. But I think it sounds great as it is. I don't really want to push it. But if they want it, I can do it later. So let's put this down and then have a listen on the way through. So whilst listening to it going down, I do think at first I thought it's probably too much bass going on. So I think that's okay. But I think I want to push the level a little bit more. I think we're hitting about -8, -9, and I really want to get that to probably 6 or 7. I know it's loud, but it's a house track. And so I think what I'm going to do is just clip it a little bit more by, say, a dB. But what I'm going to have to do then is adjust some EQ, because it's going to start sounding flat. And so if you want to get something sounding loud but also open and not flat, you just need to EQ going into the limiter and the clipper a little bit more. So let me play with that, and you can see what I'm doing to be able to get it loud but also make it sound like it is still quieter, if that makes any sense. Let's give it a try. Okay, so we've got it louder. It's about between 6-7 LUFS. But what I did there, I just thought I needed to just control the bass a little bit, because as I was pushing it up, it's starting to sort of get distorted. So I just need to hold it back a touch and just control it. I put that 19K on the top, always a winner. Sounded nice, opened it up, because I needed to make it sound a little bit more open because I'm crushing it down a bit more. So putting that on before you get into the clipper and the limiter just sort of gives the ear that it's a little bit tad brighter, but it makes it feel a little bit more open. So that's, let's put that down, and I think that's it. Okay, so as you could see, I was playing with that a little bit more as it was going through. I needed to get a bit more level, so I just put a little bit up on the limiter. It's still quite a lot of level on there, but you know, it's cool. Just controlled this a little bit more, just moved it a little bit wider because I felt that there was too much low end. So where I had that little bump in there, I just took that off because I thought it was just a bit too lumpy in the low end, blum, 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 which was better because then it obviously makes the limiter work less on the low end. So it just makes the top a little bit snappier and a little bit brighter. So I don't have to add the EQ. It's just a fact that, you know, and I just chopped this up a little bit more. So I added a little bit more of a chop to the bottom. Just felt the bottom was just too much. I wanted to leave it because I think it will sound good on a club, but I think as long as it's tight and it's there, I'm only cutting so low anyway. I'm like 20 hertz, so it's still going to be pumping. But I think it will sound better for it because I think the whole track sounds more open. So anyway, that's it. This is the way it is. You know, as you put it down, you start hearing things. So then you've got to make those changes. The good thing is about doing that and just saying, okay, I've committed. Then it's like, okay, fine, I've committed, but now I've got to do it again because I've heard it. Sometimes I might do this 20 times. because it's all about finishing. If I went on and on and on, how do I know when I've finished? Well, if I commit to my head that I've finished and I lay it down, then I think, oh, okay, but I could tweet that. Okay, I'll tweet that. And then lay it down again, and it's like, okay, fine, I might have to tweet something else. But at least I'm saying I'm finished all the way through. Even if I only get 30 seconds in, it's a way of knowing when to stop. And that's one of the problems with doing anything to do with the creative process, because it's limitless, isn't it? Okay, so anyway, let's put it down again. Okay, so here we are again. Still too much low end on. I just want to sculpt that bass a bit more. It's still a bit flabby. So I'm just taking out a little bit at 1 dB at 36 hertz on a bell, and I think that's shaping the low end a little bit better. I just need to listen back, but it's still been playing on my mind as I'm listening, as it's going down.
She loved Tupac, but hates him LL. See her at the bar with necklace, no ring. She could take a piss, turn him into a kid. Always looking at her in the line like pearly white. Said a man get people, but he don't live right. All these emotions flowing inside the club. Do you really want to love or do you want else?
Okay, that's cool. What I've done basically is taken out at 36 hertz, and then I've put a little bit on at 12k just to open the top a bit more. And then at 250, it sounded really nice just adding. So I was just trying that and it sounded really good adding at 250. The low mids, if you get those right, that's where the feel is. That's where your heart hears the track basically. So just adding that bit is just really nice. Now I'll definitely put it down. This is the sort of time where I end up having to walk out the room before I'd never stop. So let's put it down this time. So there we have it. I thought that sounded really good now. The bass is tight, it's loud, it's all together. It sounds a completely different track to the original mix, but not so that it's bad, but just it sounds more open, more together, tighter. I think he's going to love it. I do. I'm pleased we've got it done. You've seen that it can take a few goes, but that's not a problem as long as we get it right in the end.